All right, so now what we're going to move on to is talking about import session data. Import session data is a pretty cool thing. What we're going to talk about is import session data and how this works with stuff. And then this part here, when we get to effects chains, we're actually going to talk about effects chains slightly differently from what's in the notes. The notes have it one way, and it's useful to understand that stuff, but I also have some new stuff that just happened with the newer version of Pro Tools that's updated stuff. Okay, so import session data, what this is it enables you to import tracks, audio, plugins, etc., whatever, from another session. So what I do is, let's say I have the session that we were just working on, my drums template here. Boop. There we go. So I've got this session, and we got some drums in here. We've been messing around with it. And now I want to add in my vocals. So I go over here and I make a new audio track. Give this one a name. Tony Vocals. Whatever. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to, let's say, before I add in my vocals, sorry. Let's say I want to add in some shakers or whatever, right? So I've got some percussion in another song that I want to use. So what I do is we're going to go to, not that one, where is it? It's under File, Import Session Data, Option Shift I. So this one here under Import Session Data, Option Shift I. So Option Shift I. So it says choose a file to import session data from. So let's go ahead and import session data from that session I was just working on with like the Bedrock Just Like You. Let's go ahead and use that one. So we're going to go here to my teaching files, and we're going to go to Pro Tools Editing Projects and go in here to Bedrock Just Like You. And I'm going to click on the Just Like You, this one here. Let's do the rough mix. Now, what this here does is it tells me something about where I'm getting it from, okay? And in here, in your notes, there's some important stuff here talking about various places. We're going to come to that in a second. So up here is the name of the track I'm importing from, current session, created by, stuff like that. Audio bit depth, sample rate, file types, wave. So essentially what it's saying is the session that we are coming from has these settings. Now over here, time code mapping options. If you want to change your time code, where the timing happens between the session you're importing, between your current session, you're going to make some changes here. I rarely ever do this. It's the type of thing where if it's something you use, somebody's gonna tell you about it at that time. So we're not gonna talk about it too much other than it's the timing and move stuff over to make sure everything lines up. Same thing here, track offset options. Again, it's to make sure everything lines up correctly. Over here, media options, audio media options. This is your audio files that you're bringing in. So we have some choices here. We have link to, copy from, consolidate from, and force to target session format. So force to basically is copying it, and so is consolidate. So these two here are the two main ones that we want to take a look at. Link to, what it does is it points to where the audio files are located on another hard drive folder, etc. It just points to it. So instead of copying those audio files into your session, it's just going to say, hey, here's what the audio files are, and that's where you should read them from. A good thing about this is it saves space, and the audio files are not, but the bad part is the audio files are not in your folder. Hold on a second, I'll put it back up again. Cool. Okay. The other one here is copy from, which copies the audio files from their source location into the current session folder. So if we have our Pro Tools session and we have our other session that we're taking stuff from, it's going to take those audio files, it's going to grab them, copy them, and put them in here. So the good part is that it ensures that audio files are with the session. The bad part is it takes up more space on your hard drive. That could be okay or not. It depends on what you're copying from. So for example, if you are copying from like movies, if you're like grabbing audio from movies and sampling movies and stuff like that, and you've recorded the whole movie, then you probably don't want to make another copy of that because that's like a gigabyte or more. But if it's just like little beat loops and things like that, go ahead and copy them in because that way it makes sure that they're all in the same place. So link to versus copy from. Link to is great for checking mini audio files, grabbing sections from really big files. Copy from is great for grabbing a few audio files that you know you're going to use. And that's the big differences there. Okay, so in here we've got our session here, our media options. Let's go to let's go to link to because I know it's a whole file, and then sample rate conversion. If we want to do sample rate conversion, if we're converting the sample rate, then you want to convert the sample rate. If you know you have to convert it to a different sample rate, you're gonna know about that if you're converting the sample rate. Or if you don't know about it, then this is where you can do it. SRC, sample rate conversion. Over here in the media options, I forgot to talk about the video media options. Link to all this stuff here. It's all the same stuff. There's no video in this one, so it's not going to be a thing for us. Now down here in the bottom, it shows us all of our tracks that we can copy over from. So I'm just going to make this bigger. If you can make it bigger, that's great. If you can't, sorry. If you're on a MacBook, like a 13-inch MacBook, there's nothing you can really do about this. It's going to be a tiny little screen. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to grab the session, the sounds that I want, which is this perk sound here. I can click on it, and it says the destination is going to be a new track. If I wanted to grab my kick drum, I could put my kick drum, oh, these are all stereo, that's why they're not going to work. Everything was stereo. That's okay. I didn't want to grab them anyway, but I'm just going to show you how it could work. But basically, if it's the same, if I'm coming from mono tracks into mono tracks or stereo tracks into stereo tracks, these here, the destination will show up. I can put it on one of my current tracks that I have. So here I've got my percussion sounds. That's the ones I wanted. Great. Now down here at the bottom, the final part we want to talk about here is down here. Are there other things that you want to import? Do you want to import the tempo or the meter map? Sure. Let's import that tempo because we need the proper tempo for these percussion sounds we're bringing in. Do you want to import the key signature? Not really. How about the markers? Not today. Window configurations and mic presettings. Window configurations is a kind of a cool one. I'm going to show you that in just a second here. But before I do, main list, playlist options is over here. Import, replace existing playlists. We want to import our main playlist for sure. We don't want to worry about this do not import. We don't want to do that. And we want to replace existing playlists just because there are no existing playlists. So that's the only one we have here. If I had playlists already going on, we could choose this one here, which would put it on top of our existing playlists. Other track data that we can import. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. Let me back out here a little bit. There we go. So you can import our alternative playlists, clips and media, clip gain, clip effects, main volume automation, main pan automation, mute automation, output assignments. And all these are clicked by default, and that's fine in this case here. But I'm going to show you in a second a couple of ways you can use this where it makes you don't want to have all these clicked. So that's okay, fine. Now I'm going to hit OK. And it pulls in a new track called percussion here. I'm going to put that right over here on this side right there. There we go. And now if you look, it changed my tempo to 105. And it also brought in my audio from my percussion. So now I have some audio in here. And I can do whatever I want with this audio. Now it's in this session. So that's how you can work with the import session data. Now, import session data, at this point you might just be saying, Tony, wait, hold on a second. This is basically the same as import audio, right? No, it's not the same as import audio. This one is importing everything. If I had anything on that track, for example, this percussion actually doesn't have anything on this track here, but if it had effects and stuff like that, I could import them in. Let me just show you. If I wanted to bring in some vocals from another track, let's go over here to our sound, and let's go to Pro Tools projects here. And let's see, lab 1, lab 2 here. Let's go to lab 2. And in here, the counting had some effects on it, I believe. So here, this is a mono audio file, right? So you can see I have a choice if I want to bring it onto one of my current tracks. If I just click it here, it's just going to go to a new track automatically. I could bring it onto my track that says Tony Vocals. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring in a whole new track. And then, again, if I choose my data to import, I have all this stuff it's going to import. That's cool. I'm not going to import my tempo because we already imported that. I want to keep my current tempo now. So I hit OK. Some inputs are missing, whatever. So now it brought in my track with my counting, plus it brought in all the plugins that were assigned to that track, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. And over here is my, there it is. Hold on. Okay. So here's my counting. Right, there it is. Cool. Now you can see it's off because it wasn't going with my other one. The sessions were 2 different tempos, so it's going to be off, but that's okay. That's not what we were talking about here. Now, what about if I just want these effects, but I don't want all the audio, and I want to put those effects onto this track right here. I've already recorded some vocals. Let's go over here and record some vocals so we can see what I'm talking about. In one, okay, cool. And I got my click track, yes. So I'm gonna go over here, mute. Now, hey, check. All right, so let's record. Hey, this is Tony talking. What's up? The melodious sound of my voice. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I have that there. Now, as you can see, there are no plugins on this track. No plugins here. No plugins anywhere. Okay, so I have this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the plugins from my other session. I have another session I have already set up with my voice. Then I love those plugins. I think they sound great on my voice. I want to grab them and bring them into this session. So what I do is I Option Shift I, go into that session, go down here and go to my counting here. I'm going to bring onto this Tony vocal track. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to import my main playlist. I'm not going to import that main playlist, so it doesn't import any of this stuff. What it is going to import is I want to just import the plugin assignments. So let's just go ahead and let's say, let's turn all these off. I'm just going to click on these to turn, can I just hold down Option? Okay, I can hold down Option and turn them all off. I just want my plugin assignments, plugin settings, and automation. I just want these 2 things right here. And I want to save this as a preset. I'm going to save it as preset number 1. Actually, let's save it as preset number 2, and all of them are preset number 1. And to save that, what I do is I hold down my Command key and I click on it. Click, 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 like this. So I want to recall that preset there, like that. Cool. Okay, so there's that. It's just my plugin assignments. I hit OK, and now I hit OK down here. And see, it just imported my plugins and their settings to my track here. So now if I listen to it, turn it down. Hey, this is Tony talking. What's up? The melodious sound of my voice. Yeah. Okay, I think we can probably hear that click loud and clear, right? Hey, this is Tony talking. What's up? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Okay. And that's how you can use import session data. Like, that's like one of the main uses I use it for. and that is all right here. Okay. Now, this stuff here where it talks about logic in Ableton Live, this is true. But this line down here that says Pro Tools does not have this feature, actually that's old. Pro Tools finally recently, really recently, did add this feature in. And let me just show you that. So all this stuff here where it talks about effects chains, that's literally just what I just went over. If you're working with the same vocalist repeatedly and you want to be able to recall their settings, create a new session, vocal presets, import or set up the vocal tracks. In the future, when you're working on a track, you can import the session data from this vocal presets session. Okay. Track data to import is plugin assignments, plugin settings, and automation. It's literally what I just went over just now. So let me show you the new way that you can do this, which is super cool. I've got my settings here that I really like for my vocals. What I'm going to do, it's so easy. I just right click and I go to, oops, hold on, if we could see it would be better. Here, let me zoom in down here. Okay. So I right click and I go to Save Track Preset right here. Save Track Preset. And I'm going to put it in a category of Tony presets so I can stay organized. There we go, Tony presets under track presets. Boop, there we go. Cool. And now, yeah, awesome. I'm going to give this a name. This one's going to be called Crunchy Vocals. Or let's call it Vocal Crunch, rather. There we go. Include audio MIDI clips. No, do not include the audio MIDI clips. Auto-populate tags from the track data. Sure. I don't need it to have Tony vocal in there, though. But this is here. And then track data to recall. And again, we have this stuff here. So I'm going to have it do the plugin assignments and the plugin settings and automation. I'm going to save that as number 2. Yep, there we go. And we do not need it to save any of these other things here. I don't think. No, we should be good. Yeah, just these things here. Because we don't want it to like overtake everything. We just want it to be for our presets. And now I hit OK. And I hit OK again. And now it just saved those settings. So any track now that I wanted to put those settings on, let's make a new track. Let me call these Vocal 2. What I do is I right click and I go to Recall Track Preset. Down here, I can, hold on, let me zoom in down there so you can see more easily. Right click, Recall Track Preset, Tony Presets Vocal Crunch, and now you'll see it put those effects up here in my preset setting area. That is a pretty dope thing that Pro Tools just added in recently. They added it in not this latest version, but the version like before that, I think, or maybe 2 versions ago. But last year it was added in, and it was added in like right, kind of at the end. And actually, you know, the reason I know that it was added in was because I constantly am right-clicking on things just to see what's in there and to see what's going on. And one day I was clicking around on here and I was like, save track preset, what's that? And that's what that was. So that's a really big thing. It's a really, really cool thing that you should definitely be using a lot. All right. This audio media consolidate from, this is similar to copy from, but it consolidates the comp track. Consolidating is like pulling things together like this. This one, I don't really ever use this one because I like to keep all my data. So I just kind of ignore this option if you are importing stuff with import session data. Cool. All right.